everybody. I hope everyone's having a great day so far. Let's just jump right in and get started. Okay, so, oh yeah, we were right in the middle of writing about our function registration for mods, and yesterday my computer decided to not play nice right at the end of the stream, so I do apologize for that. But luckily I was able to recover most of my work. I just lost a little bit here trying to get a function for single untagged. Oh wait, no, yeah, single tag. So it did update this. It's just the work I did right here didn't fix. But for our new viewers, what I'm going on, or what I'm working on now, is before we had to manually enter the name of every function we wanted to load as part of a mod. But now here in our mod file we can just, in the actual mod file itself, register the function here. Like this is a sort players, instead of having to place the name of this function into the mod table of content file. We can see, did I already delete it here? Oh, that's the wrong thing. Like right here, we had this testing sort players, used to be the name of the function, but now we one, don't have to make sure that those names sync up, and two, we don't have to litter the global namespace with all these functions that don't really need to be there. So yeah, there's a bunch of oh gosh, can't think of the word. A bunch of pros to doing it this way. So what we need to do here is we need to see if there's actually a function registered to this specific tag. So we'll do a try get value out of this dictionary. And then if it finds the function, then we're all good. We can just return it. Yeah, otherwise we'll say no function registered to whatever with the tag. And we're all set to go. And then how would we do the onload functions? I guess we'll just pass this list. Let's look down here. How do I do it? So yeah, okay, so I add the onload function for each mod. I guess I don't really need to do that anymore. So I don't even know if I need this helper function. So let's start here. So for map generation, I guess I'll just map generation. We gotta, these are supposed to be debug names. Alright, and then I don't actually pass the mod anymore. I pass the entry and the function registry that the function should have been set, or stored, I suppose is a better way to say it. Okay, so loaded function registry map generation. And then here, sort players. And stat sheet. Okay, so this actually works a little different. For now, I'll keep it how it is, and we'll just use the default function for all stats, but I actually have the ability to add a different function for specific stats. And yeah, I'll worry about adding that in later because I want to try and get the game just to how it was before I changed all this. So stat specific cheat detectors. Just a reminder. Okay, so this will just be function registry default stat validator. Okay, and for here, yeah, I guess we'll clear the list first and just, this will actually be really simple. Onload functions, add range, loaded, function registry, onload, and we really don't care. Oh yeah, I gotta get the actual list. We don't care if there's 0 or 50 functions in here, so we don't really need to do any other validation of those values. Okay, same with that, and now I can get rid of this entire method here, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so that's all good, I think. Okay, so this is for the after turn effect. And the way this works is actually slightly different. Okay, I already added the name. So what I really need to do... Okay, yeah, for these tagged, I need to have another, like, set or a list of tags that I expect to be in there, and then whenever we grab a function out of here, we can like remove it from the used functions, because if there are some functions that are registered that aren't actually going to be used, we should probably notify the mod author, because I don't think that would ever be... I don't think there's ever any reason why the mod author would have useless functions in here. It would probably indicate that they maybe mistyped this, like instead of move, they accidentally, I don't know, did something like that. And so then I would say, oh well, there's some random function in here to mave instead of move, and then we'd want to go back and look at the typo. So what's the best way to do that? Hash set string. Okay, I think the easiest way is we'll just have this like that. Oh, and I just realized I need to have a constructor here to actually create the dictionary and list objects, otherwise they'll just be null all the time. Same here. Alright, and then in this get function, whenever we get this try get value, we would want to add it. So the function registry used add tag, and since this is a hash set, it won't add duplicates, so we don't need to worry about that. And then at the end, we'll check to make sure that there's not any extra functions. I think that's the best way to do it. Another way we could do is kind of invert this so that at the beginning we add all tags in this function dictionary to here and then remove them as they're used, but I think this way is a little less prone to bugs. Okay, so let's change this a little bit. This will be add after turn effect. I'm not sure if we need to actually store the name. I guess for now I don't, so I guess I'll leave it that way. Okay, yeah, so that doesn't work like that. We'll just, I guess it would really just be database after turn effect functions, add get function, and it would be loaded function registry after turn effect handler. Why is it saying it's untagged because I'm passing it tagged up? I guess just the signature was getting confused. So I actually need to pass the tag here, not the debug string. Okay, let's do this actually. So tag. We want to get this name but have it to upper invariant so that it's case insensitive. And then stream format after turn effect handler. Well, I guess I don't actually need to pass the tag in there because I think, yeah, it prints out the tag right there. Okay, so I was making things a little more complicated than need be. And do I need to do anything here? So right now it checks to see if there's a duplicate function. But I don't think there's any way that this can actually happen by accident anymore. Like, because the mod author would have to very deliberately add a function under two separate tags. So I think we just won't worry about that anymore. And then we'll just need to add the priority. Okay, so I do actually need the closure. Oh, but if we have a duplicate, then it would mess up this priorities. I guess the way to fix that is to actually store the priority by the name. But I don't think that the game data needs the name at any point. Okay, well, I'll think about this. For now, we'll assume that the functions are unique. I won't even worry about testing it. So I need to either disallow duplicate after turn effect handler functions, or change the way gosh, I can't spell. Priority is stored in asset organizer. So I'll need to think about that. Maybe this will work fine. I could just, well, yeah, it's actually very easy to check for duplicates right now. might as well just leave that in. Okay, so now we're good there. So we add the after turn effects and then sort them, and then we'll also need to see if there's any extra tags laying around. So let's that's what I'll do here. Private void check for unused functions. And then I'll just have string debug name. So it's pretty simple. First we need to loop through, or actually every key, because we need to get each tag. And then if function registry used contains tag is false, then we'll throw an error. We can actually use something similar. So that should take care of that. Then I just need to type check for unused functions and the loaded function registry after turn effect handlers. Okay. So for abilities, basically, yeah, we have these 3 separate functions, but I really don't need to change anything here except just have use the get function method. So ability usable, and I guess I'll need the tag, or do I already have that? Yeah, right here. Okay, so did I use the wrong function name? Okay, I actually did spell it all out. Okay, and this is ability get targets and selection to action. Okay, so now I also need to check for unused here. So ability usable, get targets, and selection to actions. Copy that string to use as a base. Okay, and then there's no functions in the block prototype and no functions in monster prototype, so I guess that's it. Oh yeah, and there's no errors here anymore. So let's just make sure. So we know there has to be a function registered for every ability because it checks right here that if there's no function under this tag, then it throws an error, and then we know that there's no unused functions because we call this at the end. Okay, and now the rest of the game, should just run because nothing actually changed in the rest of the game's logic. Oh, here's the asset destroyer. I think all we have to do is just type function registry equals null, and then it'll clean up all that. So now it's going to recompile. Okay, so there did run into something, it's not that surprising. Cannot convert controller type, function registry. Let's see, where does this happen? And mod load manager set global. Oh, because I have to change it into a user data. And I think actually the problem was this Lua function registry. Oh, that's not the right place. In the Lua interface, I forgot to tag this as a user data object. So it would be sharp user data. And I think I need to do that for the subclasses down here as well. And that was just Moonsharp not being able to convert the C# object into a Lua object unless you specifically tell it it's able to. Okay. Exception in Lua's file, ability scripts. Okay, so 72. Attempt to call a user data value. Let's look. Oh, I just needed to call or type add right there. Okay, something else. Object reference not set to an instance of an object at oh, I bet the name is null. Oh yeah, because that's new, so we didn't actually check for that. So if string is null or empty, then we want to throw new mod load exception, nil or empty after turn effect name. And unfortunately we can't really be any more specific because we don't have a name to tell the user. Which after turn effect had the bad name, obviously. Oh yeah, well I guess I'll just check to make sure this works, but then we need to, yeah, that was the problem. But now we need to go back and actually add names to our after turn effects. Yeah, we can actually delete all these functions. And so right here I just need to type name, and I think I called this test dummy, and then this one was test move. Guess I'll go through and delete all of the functions. Yeah, see now, another thing I want to do is be able to have abilities defined in the table of contents as a list if the mod author wants to, and we can see because the ability only has one entry in it now. But I think in the future there will be other things here like animations and whatever. right now it did load all the way, and seems like the ability fireball usable. Looks loaded fine. So let's just see if we can go through an entire turn. Okay, and yeah, looks like everything was great. Still have that weird bug with the indicators, but I'm not really sure what the deal is, and since they're temporary, I'm not going to worry about it too much, but it's probably something simple. But see, we can actually move here, but for some reason the indicator doesn't display. But if I click on that block, it will still let me go there. So it's not a huge deal. For some reason it works when like this one has the indicators all visible. So yeah, I don't really know what it is, but I haven't actually looked either, so. Alright. So cool, we're done with this. So now we want stop specific cheat detectors. And I think, I actually can't think of any reason why we'd want duplicate after turn effect functions. Yeah, why would we want that? So, I mean, for now, I'll just leave it how it is, where duplicates are not allowed. And if for some reason I ever think of a reason why you might want duplicate after turn effect handlers, then I can change this a little bit. Alright, so okay, so how do we want to store those stat-specific functions? Maybe it's time to actually have like a statistic class that carries information about a statistic. Right now I don't have one, because we just have the stat name, because used to the name was the only thing that a statistic would actually have. So I guess, what would we call this? It wouldn't be an actual statistic because it would be more like statistic metadata. I guess I can call it that. No, it doesn't need to be serializable, but it should be public. And it will just have string name and closure validation function. And then here, this will unfortunately cause a lot of errors to crop up. Not that they'll be difficult to fix, but okay, and so yeah, the asset organizer is while we figure this out. Okay, and then I don't need this variable actually, because that's like, because before we only had one for all stats. So when do we know, like when do we have a list of all stats? It's after we load the monsters, isn't it? Or maybe not. I guess I need to see when there's a stat name map built. So register stat, find all references. Okay, so yeah, right now it's only in add monster, but I guess there could be stats and blocks as well. We just haven't used any yet. So I guess I'll do it down here at the very end. We don't have these anymore. Stat meta. Add a new object here, and we'll just set the name for now. Well, I guess I actually could figure out the function right now. Okay, so one thing that's different is we actually don't want this to throw an exception. Okay, maybe no, I probably should use this. Well, no, okay. We're gonna copy this, but basically instead of throwing an error if there's not a specific function here, we'll use a default. So this will be loaded stat or function registry stat validator. So if it's true, then again we still want to use the use because we'll want to flag any unused functions. Otherwise, we can just call it this get function. Database stat. Oh no, it's not database, it's still loaded data. Default, and this will just be, I don't know, default stat validator. I guess I can add this down here so that way I set the validation function. Okay, so yeah, that's simple. And then at the very end, we'll check for unused functions in the stat validators. Okay. So now we need to call the right Lua function whenever we call the stat validator function. So yeah, right here, stat cheat detector. And so yeah, instead of just calling this value directly, oh, also this should be stat meta name. And then we'll just call stat meta very simple. I guess to go with my rule, I'll pull out the stat meta object. That way I won't have to drill down the database quite as much. Alright, and there's going to be a lot of errors now because I took away the stat names dictionary. Oh, not quite as much as I thought actually. So stat meta, stat index, name. And that's really all I have to do. I just need to change everything to stat meta name instead of just looking up the actual stat name from the database directly. But really, going to work exactly the same. This still works fine. So let's see, is that good enough? And also, I guess while I'm messing around with this, in the game data, I have this like reverse dictionary to go from the map to the index, but I don't do that for monsters. I wonder if it's still worth it. Okay, lots of things do actually use it. So I was thinking about maybe deleting that and then just having things look through the stat meta to find the right index, but lots of things do actually use it, so I guess I'll leave it. Okay, and now let's just make sure the game still runs. Unused function, health. Oh, do I not have a health stat? Oh, I do. Is it not stored upper invariant? Let's look and see. When is the register stat called? Okay, so yeah, right here I have the upper invariant. Oh, but I don't actually use that. I use the name instead of the key. So, in case of the wrong variable name. So now everything loaded okay. Okay, and it made it through an entire turn. I actually don't think it would ever call the stat validator right now because we don't have to ever validate stats. Because right now there's only one client, so it knows everything. But I think since the game loaded, it's pretty much know it's good to go. Okay, well, that was easy. Alright, so we're done with better function loading. I think it's a really nice change, so I'm happy with it. So the next thing I want to do is, see, for right now we have to have a file for each ability, and they don't really have that much data. In the future they probably will have more, but it'd be nice if we could just like specify a list of abilities in this file or in the table of contents itself. Like I just have this data right here instead of needing to load separate files. I'm trying to think the best way to do this. I actually think the best way might be to like pull all these out into like a separate, like, I don't know, I don't really know what to call it, but like a data list file, and then the table of contents will actually be able to to specify a list of files that have lists of files on them, or a list of data. So let's look. Let's see how would we do that. Again, this is just a loading thing, so it shouldn't affect actually playing the game at all. So I'm just trying to think of what I want to name it. I guess a database. I'll go with that for now. And then table of contents, yeah, we need to leave. So basically I'm going to try and pretty much have only data in the table of contents that the lobby will need to know. So all this stuff, the mod type, I'll probably have script files, but and then the blueprints, but this I want to move out into this database file. So this needs to be public and serializable, and really all it will have is a list of all these, and the mod author can decide to have one or more lists empty. So block prototype, monster prototype, and ability. Alright, so I'll go ahead and delete all this. So let's rearrange this a bit. Blueprints, and then we'll have a script file, and then public string data files, and then I guess if the mod author wanted to include the data right here in the table of contents, that would be fine as well. But I guess they need to be careful that it's not too large, because the table of contents is loaded during the lobby, so. But I guess it's just text, so I don't know. Okay, so now I need to change the way that the mod loader works quite a bit. Yeah, so last time we changed the asset organizer. This time I don't think the asset organizer will really change, but the mod loader will. Here. So actually it's interesting. I don't think we'll have just individual XML files for the different monster blocks and abilities anymore. We'll just have the one database file. Yeah, so before I go changing all this, let's actually convert the game to use it. So I think I'll leave these monster prototypes in their own file. So let's see, I do class database, and then monster prototypes. While I'm doing this, I wonder if I should change the value of all these to be uppercase so that they kind of match the class name. I don't know. And then monster prototype. Okay, so yeah, this is how it would work if we just want one file for this one object. Slash database, so yeah, that works well. And I think, yeah, monsters should probably be on their own file just because they have a lot of data. But we could move all these abilities into one file. So database. Abilities. And then I want to have fireball and punch, and there we're good here. We can delete these files. There's gonna be a bunch of errors right now, but that's okay. Okay, so yeah, I also need to do the block prototypes. Do I want to put it all in one file or not? And another nice thing about this is, say, if the block prototype had like a specific after turn effect associated with it, we wouldn't have to put that in a different file. We could just call after turn effects and then enter in the data right down here. So it lets mod authors organize their data how they want. And I think I'll just go ahead and put the other block prototype in here as well. This is what I wanted. Okay, so now I can get rid of stone. Okay. And lastly, we need to update the table of contents. So I won't have these at all. So we got the script files, data, files. Okay, and then we'll have monster proto gold. I'm having a lot of trouble typing these XML files today. Okay, and then we have, right now it's just type, it's called ability move. So I'll need to rename that. I'll just call it abilities. Last thing. Oh, I guess I need to do the same thing for blocks. Okay. Except it was all one word, wasn't it? And I don't have an after turn effects because I want to actually try to work it into the inline database and the table of contents just to test. Blueprint should probably go first, actually. Okay, so now I've converted over. Oh, I gotta do the testing. Oh, actually, it doesn't have anything different, so. Now I've converted over all my game data files, and I like the way that's structured. Let's think about how we'll do it here. We'll still have XML file waiting, but now we only have one type, a database type. I'm trying to think if I need to keep this enumeration, like is there going to be any other type of file that I might need in the future? I don't think so, because I think if there was, I would just put it on the end of the database. I guess it's not really that hard to retype it if I need it later. Okay, so I guess we still need, this mod name and the mod folder path. But this name and database is not the same anymore because actually, what is that? XML file waiting. So let's see, if abilities is null, so then we wait, so the name and database, oh, it's the file name for that ability. So I guess, this is instead now the database file name. I guess that'd still be, we might need it for debugging. Okay, so here, yeah, we're just waiting to see if the database is finished loading. I could maybe even change this XML objects just to be string database. I'm just a little leery of doing that in case in the future I need to load some other type of XML file. But I think that since I'm changing the way all this works, if I ever had to add another file, I would just put it at the end down here. But I guess it doesn't really make much difference. Actually, I think I do, yeah, because just for the inline database, it'll be a lot easier if I just have a list of all data lists, or database, instead of having to handle the inline database differently, I think. Or maybe. I'll leave it how it is now and we'll see. Okay, and we don't really need to call appropriate handler because it's just... it'll just be load database file. Let's just go ahead and type this out. So the mod name, waiting, mod folder path, waiting, database file name, and then we'll have the actual database itself, which will be, I guess I needed to get this out here, so object, instead of using contains key, we'll do try get value. Well, this could cause an error, couldn't it, if this doesn't contain a database? Although, no, this would throw an error earlier when I actually try to load the XML file, so. Okay, so I'll need this function, so I'll just go ahead and create it, but I want to actually move it down lower. Okay, so I don't need this anymore. And there's no... I'm trying to think. I don't think I need any of this, but I'll just comment it out just in case. Instead, what I want to do is if table of contents database does not equal null, then we call load database with this. I know the mod name. Okay, I thought it was saying that was an error right there. So this will be inline database. So we'll handle that later. And then if table of contents data files does not equal null, Then we just need to ask for XML file load. I guess technically they could put a duplicate database in the list, so we will need to check for that. Since this is only called in one place, I'll just copy the function up here. So if assets So yeah, the reason I just paused is because I'm thinking there could be a way that a duplicate could slip through. Oh well, wait, actually, because I was thinking that like the XML object is not deposited here until the file is done loading. So technically you could request a file and then there could be a duplicate and you wouldn't catch that it's a duplicate right there. But I think actually the XML loader will throw an error if it tries to deposit an object into a place that there's something already stored. Yeah, right here. Okay, so this load XML file. Okay, yeah, I guess I should just use this function because it initializes the request. Instead of trying to be fancy. Okay, and I actually need to do it for each data file, so I still do need this for loop. Done this. Oh, it just unindented some things without making much sense, or indented some things. Okay, so yeah, for talk data files. This should be database, so yeah, basically the same, and yeah, we don't need this type anymore. I really don't need a separate function for that, I don't think. I guess this is actually a file or the name of database and not the file name exactly. Type. So here I still check to see if it's already contained there. Oh, because I guess it could have already loaded in the time between calling this and then. Okay, I see the logic there. It could have loaded immediately after calling this function. I'm not sure if that actually happens in my case, but and then what's the load database? Name, mod folder path, actual object. Okay, well no, I do need to pass it because the inline thing is not in this loaded XML files. I'll just make a helper function actually, so if I don't pass the database file, it will just pull it out of here. So this will pretty much just call this function, but with that the try get I have up here. Is that worth doing really? So now that I think about it, I was thinking that I could combine, I could just call that function here and then down below, but there's a little bit of different logic here. Yeah, because we only call this function if try get value returns true. So yeah, I can't use that exactly. So yeah, no, not needed. Okay, yeah, and instead of doing contains key, I'll just do move the try get right here. Okay, so now we've done that. There's no reason to keep this because all it does is just wait for the XML, so there's not any logic I need. It's just cluttering up the file right now. Okay, so yeah, this is a bit of a misnomer now because it's not actually a file. So let's just delete that, and we'll actually yeah, I need to change the way because right now it gets the data out of the XML objects, but we actually should pass the block prototype directly. So in proto for the mod prototype, I guess I'll just use proto code, so I call it there, and I really don't need this name and database besides having a debug. So that's okay. So yeah, if this is null, then it's not that there's a wrong type in here, it's just that there's an empty block prototype in some database. So this would actually be database name. This is actually getting a bit confusing because the name and database is referring to the name in the asset database, not the game database. So this should be loading block prototype from, I guess it'd be assets in block prototype from the database. And this would be empty, or not empty, null block prototype in database name. Here we don't need the database name anymore once we actually start loading the block. So I think I can copy this so I don't have to type all that again. change this, and this also has to be a monster prototype. Okay, and then ability. So this is a little different because, yeah, all we do now is just check to see if the ability is null or not. So we really don't need this file right now. Oh, I guess we still should check to make sure it's not null, huh? Might as well. Ability, database name, and Lizard Tamer mods ability. Okay, and then we'll also, right now I don't have anything for this, but since after turn effects are now in the database, okay, and I also need to get rid of the file. But yeah, since after turn effects are now in the database, we should also check to make sure there's not any nulls in there. Okay. So I think this is all updated, and this new system is a little simpler than before, so I'm not going to complain about it too much. Oh, but I'm not done yet. I need to implement this file. So basically we just loop through every entry in the database. So let's change this to loaded database. And I think we can just have one debug log here. Probably don't need all these debugs anymore. I keep on saying I need to clean them up, so might as well. And then if the loaded database block prototypes does not equal null, then we'll just loop through them. And call the load block prototype and pass all this stuff. Pretty simple. And now I just need to do that for monsters, abilities, and after turn effects. Abilities. I guess I should rename this to be consistent. Okay, so now we're done here, I think. Okay, and now, so I gotta go back into the asset organizer. There's gonna be quite a few errors here. And we do need to change the way this is handled as well. Because I think right now, we look at the mod table of contents, and then load everything. And wonder if it'd be easier. So probably this loaded mod should have a list of all databases in it. Just to simplify things, because that way I won't need to call a function for each, like a table of contents inline, and then for every loaded database. So let's see, how would this work? Yeah, we'll have to turn effects this first. Did I actually ever call this? Okay, yeah, I do. So basically, if I didn't have the list of databases, I'd have to call it once for the loaded framework inline, and then once for every file that it had. And then what if there's a... Oh well, no, I don't need to worry about duplicates because it would have thrown an error. Okay. Yeah, while I'm thinking about this, I need to get a small drink, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now, I wonder, like, see right now I have like the framework separate from the content mods, and that's fine, but it makes everything here quite a bit more complicated. So I kind of have to duplicate this kind of pattern. I wonder if I should take the time now and change it so I just have a list of table of contents to go through. I guess the other question is, for the database, does it even really need to know what mod it belongs to? Like, do I use this? I think for almost everything I only just loop through it, and the actual mod doesn't matter at this point. Okay, so here it's getting the XML, which it won't need anymore. So it does kind of need the database name. I wonder, for debugging, how can I store that easily? It seems like once we load the database, it doesn't really matter what mod it came from. Because what we do kind of need database, let's spell it out. Oh, I forgot the class, that's why it's being a little weird. Shift tab. Okay, there we go, we have to be behind it. So we'd have public. So yeah, we have the database class. And then the debug name. And I guess if we really needed to get the owning mod, we could have a reference to the loaded mod here. But now we might not even need the table of contents at this point. Maybe. So we'll just have a list of loaded databases. And on the mod load manager, we'll just create a new object right here. Oh, do I not have the loaded? Oh, it's called final assets. And again, there can't be a duplicate here because it would have thrown an error. And there could be duplicate assets in here, but we'll catch that later. Okay, so the data is this loaded database, and the debug name is database file name. I guess actually, so this inline database should have the mod name at the front. This is no longer the file name, this is a debug name. Okay, so that is good. So now here, this add after turn effect, so we don't need this mod at all anymore. We still need the priorities, but instead we just have, well, we could either pass the database file and then loop through, or just have the actual after turn effect file. That's probably better. So this will be the mod after turn effect. So yeah, we don't care if this is null because that can't happen anymore. Maybe we'll have a separate helper here for loading a list. Well, do I really? I'm trying to see here. Can I just load the files as they come in each database, or do I need to load all after turn effects first, then all abilities, then all blocks? I think we do have to do that because we need to know all the abilities before we load monsters. Okay, so let's see, add after turn effects. And then we still need to pass the priorities. So if database after turn effects is not null, then we just loop through. Okay, so yeah, we don't need to check if this is null anymore, because that doesn't matter, and then we don't have to loop through in this function. Okay, I guess I call this after turn effect definition, so it's fine. Okay, so I'll do the same thing for abilities and all the rest. Anyway, almost out of time. I want to finish this tonight. Here, again, we don't really need the mod because the only thing we use it for is to get the XML. But I guess we still do need a debug name. So this will be ability mod data, and then string debug name. Or I guess this will be the database debug name. Oh yeah, and then I have to specify this as the mod version of this class. And then database. Okay, this isn't actually a database, this should be the loaded database. So I just need to drill down one more time, no big deal. And then database debug name and the ability map. Okay, so here we don't have to loop through or check if the list is empty. Okay, and all this part here, we're just getting the XML key, which we don't need to do anymore because we already have the end data. Still, could the actual thing be empty by now? I guess so, although it would have been caught earlier. Right, it was caught earlier. Yeah, that was the whole point of this. So yeah, we don't need this test anymore. And then we can just change that to the database debug name. So ability in has an invalid name. Okay, so I need to do the same thing for the block prototypes. Okay, and here we have this block prototype map, which is string to integer. Well, that's the same as ability map actually, but and we don't need the loaded mod anymore, we need this. And then a string debug name. And now I can get rid of all of that. Okay, so it needs the mod name for the asset. That's true actually, because it needs the mod name to be ordered to get the asset key. So it does care where it was loaded from. Only in that respect. Yeah, here's where it was. As I said, it's not that difficult. I'll just pass the mod name to it. Where is that? So maybe I should just pass the loaded database since it needs a few fields from it. But debug name. Oh yeah, I can't use database because it's the same as the game database. So this will be the mod. Okay, I already have this for the monster prototypes, although it's a little different. So we have the ability name map, the monster name map, and I've loaded database. So what it's doing, it's checking if it's null and then it calls for each. So this is kind of like how this code used to be at the beginning. Oh. Data. Come on. Okay, and then I need to pass the monster and the ability. For some reason that was in a weird order, but no big deal. Okay, so yeah, we don't have to load anything there. XML key is the mod database bug name. And then here is the mod database mod name. Okay, some more debugging. Check for stats. A bunch of things to see if abilities exist. All this should be monster prototype in instead of at. Although I guess at this point we should actually just use the monster name instead of this debug name. So does it need any preposition? Yeah, we can just use the monster name. I don't know why I didn't do that before. Okay. Alright. Well, I think I'm about out of time. But we did most of the work. This will all be simple now. We can get rid of having to load both from the framework and the content. We can just say our loop through every database and say, where is it? Yeah, add after turn effects. That might be another thing to do is instead of just passing this database, we'll have another for loop here and just loop through the loaded assets. Maybe I'll do that right here just to I don't think, yeah, because for each of these we don't really do anything on a per mod basis. Yeah, so we don't. So for each database and loaded databases. Okay, so yeah, we'll just do that for all the rest of them. And that will simplify this quite a bit. You can just call add after turn effects and just insert the priorities. There, much simpler. Alright, well we'll do that for the rest of the assets tomorrow. And hopefully be done with this quality of life stuff. We'll need to just do testing and then we'll move on to one of these other bigger projects. And again, I can't decide if I want to do more gameplay stuff or start working on the art. The only problem with the art is I need to really brush up on my 3D modeling skills and think of some kind of creature that would be good for testing. That would be good for testing, that we could do animations on and things. So I need to think about that. But anyway, thanks everybody for coming by and watching. I really appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow around 8:30 Eastern. And if you missed some of the stream, feel free to check out my YouTube channel and my description below. And if you want to chat with me and other viewers and game developers, feel free to join my Discord channel, which you can see in the same place. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks everybody again, and hope you have a great night. Bye-bye.